Thanks, man. No problem. This is very high-tech stuff we got here. I am here with
Tyrone.
Tyrone. And were you here with your family, I think?
Yes, yeah. Ever since the truckers came here, we've been coming here every week. Well, we missed 1 week, but we've been coming every week since then. Yeah.
So that's almost a month. It's been like a few weeks then.
Yeah.
What are these protests, like what does it mean to you?
Well, a lot has been going on over the last 2 years, and you know, when something new happens, you're like, okay, we don't know what's going on. Let's try and figure it out before we make any decisions. But it seems like they aren't trying to learn anything, do anything new. Right. And not only are they doing the same things that they've been doing that haven't been working, they're now requiring us to do new things that infringe on things that I thought were rights that free people were supposed to have.
I thought these were rights. Sorry. No, exactly. That's how people are feeling, right? Like, pretty sure this is in the charter. This country's free, right? Is this country free?
Well, I thought, honestly, last year I would have told you, before the QR code, I would have told you, we're in a free country.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying we're not. I'm just saying I can't just say, we're in a free country. I definitely can't say that.
So, were you born in Canada?
Yes. Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying they saw this freedom convoy and they felt like this Canadian pride that they hadn't felt in a long time. Can you relate
Absolutely.
to that?
You know what? I had heard about it, and I wasn't really paying too much attention, but I happened to be on this road called Barter Road that runs parallel to the 400 before it reaches 401. Okay. On the Thursday that the Freedom Convoy was coming through Toronto, and I just heard all this speaking, and I looked up at the highway from where I was. I saw all these flags and all these trucks, and I said, oh wow, they really are here. There's a lot of people. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. All these strangers, right? With red and white flags.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty cool to see that. So I'm glad I was in that place at that time to actually see what was going on. And then the next day I heard how there were a lot of people that were walking down onto the on-ramp at Kiel 401. Onto the ramp. And how traffic was slowed down there because people were on the overpasses heralding everybody. So that was pretty cool.
And so now it's March 5th now. And some provinces have gotten rid of the mandates, but you're still here, and a lot of people are still here because it's like we're not satisfied.
Yes.
When are you going to be satisfied? What do you want to see?
You know what? I'll be satisfied when they acknowledge the mistakes that they've made and said we're going to pull back X, Y, and Z. Just like when they ended the Emergencies Act, somehow some things that they needed that were given to them by the Emergencies Act, they said they were going to keep in place, namely some of the financial measures. I'm just thinking, okay, if we're in a free country where we have checks and balances, so that in order for you to get that power, there's an act that you have to call into play in order to get those powers, and then you rescind the act, but you keep some of what you didn't have before the act that were a part of the act. If the people who wrote this act think that this is an infringement on your freedoms, which is why you have to do X, Y, and Z to get it going, how could keeping any of that say, obviously those are things that they thought were things we should have that you've now just decided you're going to keep away from us.
It's like they've pulled a trick on us or something. It's like watching a dealer deal the cards, and then they're like,
Exactly. Some people can see what the dealer is doing, but most people can't. That's actually a very good analogy. That's
not fair. And they're like, well, it is because of emergency measures. And it's like, what the hell's going on here? Do you watch the news in this country?
I watch news from all around the world, including this country.
Nice. So what do you think about the news specifically in Canada?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. When I watch any news that is essentially state supported around the world, you see a different bias based on whatever the, dominant beliefs in that state are.
Right.
So that happens over here. But when you compare what you get from kind of state or corporate sponsored news compared to what people like you are doing, people who, you probably have your own bias too, but I find people are more genuine. They don't necessarily hide their bias when they're independent. And some people are actually really just open and want to look at different information from different sides. Now, they might still come with their point of view, but they show you stuff that's even counter to their view sometimes. I just find that the news media in Canada, that's like Canadian news, is very homogenous. So you kind of got to go other places to find...
It's so true. And you were saying looking for people with other opinions. On our march there, me and my cameraman Igor, we were trying to stop people who are like disapproving of the protest, and like just like talk to them like, hey, I would love to hear your, and they always scurry off most of the time. Why do you think that is?
You know what? I believe that a lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people who kind of support the mandates, in part it's because, well, I've already gotten the shot, so what's my problem? All they have to do is get the shot. And I think part of why they think that way is that I would venture to say that more than half of the people who got it didn't get it because they thought it's something they really needed to do. It was just a matter of convenience. Right. And they think that, well, if I'm going to have to defend that position, what am I going to say if they ask me some real questions? I don't know. I just thought it was convenience, right? So, because then they'd probably get some kind of dissonance because they're being told the story that this is a good thing to do. They've done it, so that makes them feel good. But then if they have to defend their decision, since they kind of just did it out of convenience, they don't have much to say except for repeat things that you've heard already. Yeah. They can't give you a thought process. They can't like walk you down the path to their conclusion. Right. So it's a little intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, it would be intimidating to not be able to explain yourself. It's like, no offense, but like the one woman walking by and she's just like disgusting, and I'm like, I would love to hear more than one word. Disgusting, please, anything. But have you heard of Bill C-36 by chance?
I have. I don't remember what it is though, but I do feel that I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's some bullshit that the liberals are trying to pass right now, right? But Bill C-36 is a censorship bill essentially, and they're trying to pass it, like they're trying to redefine hate speach, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh. I already, and I'm a black person, I already don't really believe in the idea of hate speech laws. So I do believe that speech could be hateful, but I mean, see, and this is also why before I would have said we're a free country, but I still would have had some caveats. Because could we really be a free country if we have hate speech? I don't really get it. I don't get it. And one thing I believe too, which is something that Marcus Garvey, one of my heroes, believed, is that
Marcus Garvey?
Yeah, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He's one of Jamaica's national heroes. Nice. He is an essential Pan-Africanist. If you ever get into Pan-Africanism, studying that, you have to study Marcus Garvey. He would work with anybody. Actually, he went on a speaking tour with somebody that, I forget if he was from the Klan or not. But this is something that also Malcolm X...
From the Klan?
Yes. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. People, when they hide their views from you, you don't know how you can really relate with them. They could be doing all kinds of things to undermine you. But when you know somebody's position, then maybe there's still some things you can work on, even if you don't like each other, because there's something that you want to get done. But you know their position, you know where you overlap, where you don't, and where you're totally opposed. So I don't believe in hate speech, because then it makes the hateful person resentful because they can't speak freely. Yeah. And then you also don't know who those people are that you have to watch out for, because they find ways to keep it underground.
It breeds dishonesty almost.
Yes, exactly.
And secrecy.
Exactly.
Interesting. I'll have to check that guy out. Pan-Africanism, is that like, the colonialists?
Yeah.
That makes sense. Anything else to add to like encourage people to like come out and be counted?
You know what? I find it very disturbing that for something that's supposed to be a hallmark of a free and democratic society, they decided to enact an emergency act, which is something that's kind of the antithesis to democratic society. That's something that, I mean, the bill that preceded it was called the War Measures Act. It kind of gives you an idea of what situations you kind of need to get those powers. When a government is willing to do that just because people are disagreeing with them and making their life inconvenient because they don't know how to manage the situation, using the laws which serve us pretty well, and going outside of the judiciary, which I don't think judges are perfect, but at least you have a third party adjudicating things rather than just these guys saying, hey, do X, Y, and Z, and that's it. But when you have a government that is willing to go to that length to stop you from expressing your own thoughts, you don't know how far that can go. Anytime something happens that we say is really bad or egregious in a society, it didn't start with people coming in with AKs and gunning down people. It started with one person or two people doing something that was kind of bad, but they got away with it. And then they're able, like, hey, let's push the envelope a little further. Let's push the envelope a little further. So if we let the government that's supposed to serve us get away with, I think it's pretty big. But let's assume that I think the Emergencies Act was a small thing. To get away with something small, it's kind of like you tenderize the meat, so that next time you just throw it on the fire. Like, let's
They push it a little further,
yeah,
a little further.
Exactly. Don't give the first inch. Don't give the first inch.
I don't like the term person of color. I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, you're a Jamaican, like you're a Canadian.
Well, I would
Jamaican
say
heritage.
I'm Canadian. My parents are Jamaican, but
Right,
yeah.
Right. So, you know, the CBC and a lot of the Canadian establishment, Liberal Party, they are, you know, you may disagree. I feel like they're very obsessed with like diversity and this sort of stuff, and some people might call it like forced or something like this. But meanwhile, at the protest, we have like a very kind of natural reflection of Canada, like the kind of natural diversity.
Absolutely.
What would you say is the difference between like what they do on the CBC and like what's happening here?
Well, I would say, so good or bad, because to have a society, you have to agree on some things. Part of the CBC's job, being government funded, is to kind of shape the public view of what's acceptable or not. That's not necessarily bad. What would make it not bad is if they emphasize critical thought and independent thought in schools. Then it wouldn't be so bad, because you have to get some consensus. But if people actually were able to think and say, hey, no, I don't want to agree with that, I want to change that, then that's kind of a safeguard, which we don't have.
Right.
But yeah, I think that they do, but I don't think it's necessarily negative, even though I don't agree with everything that they're doing. I don't, but hey, in a free society, people are going to do things I don't agree with, and that's how much I value it.
Okay, cool. So,
Yeah.
Tyrone, when are you running for politics?
Never.
We need you, bro. Come on.
No, I don't got time for that, man.
All right, well, thanks for your time.
All right, thank you very much. Take care.
Awesome. The Freedom Convoy may be over, but we are going to keep fighting for those freedoms. If you like this content, like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. And if you want to support content like this, send an e-transfer to GregTheCanadian at hotmail.com. We're going to knock this fence down, metaphorically. Okay? We are going to get our freedoms back soon. Thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon.